So do you want to, there you go, start recording.
And let me start screening sharing here. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, so why don't we just go top to bottom and see what we can do here with any of these. So the AWS account, I think can we declare victory on that one?
Yes.
So we're good on that.
And that's been, yeah.
That's been done. Okay, great. I think we're still working on the company information required fields.
I am, and I've, after the meeting we had with Ulrika, I've been working on other things since that seemed less important than things like exporting information so they can do their mailing this weekend and figuring out addresses and so on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That would be definitely not the top of the list right now. Anything on the backups that we should talk about?
Nope.
And README, the README thing?
Nope.
Okay. So this one here, we're waiting for Susanna's review on PR 231.
Well, that got
Or is it?
in.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's PR 230. That's a different one.
Yeah.
Yes. So that one actually merged. I merged that actually. So let's go ahead and say that's done. Google Analytics, we still haven't done that yet, which is fine. This we've merged. The basically turning off turbo links.
Yes.
So I'll go.
Yes.
Yeah. So we will, and I think, well, I think we can deliver, and I think we can accept because the client doesn't care about, Okay, so we're good on that one. Optimize queries. I don't think that's begun.
Right, I haven't done any more. Right, we've chipped away at it, but not anymore.
Okay, all right. Select email delivery provider. Now, I did recommend Mailgun, and one of the things I found out afterwards is Mailgun now requires a credit card. They didn't do that before.
Right.
But I think all of these email service providers are trying to nudge their user base toward paid versions. However, they do say you will not be charged if you send less than 10,000 in a month.
Right.
Which I can't, and we don't send out emails in testing, which is the only way we could even get near a tenth of that. So I think we should be okay, but Suzanne's really going to have to use does the organization have a credit card? Or she'd been using a personal one?
I doubt it. I don't know. But yeah, so they'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, I could use mine in the interim, but I'd rather not do that. It gets kind of messy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I mean, for a bunch of reasons, they need to discuss it, and then if they're going to do it, they need to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Except we're kind of dead in the water on email moving forward with that, but hopefully, I wanted to talk to Suzanne about that, see if she has any updates.
Right.
Maybe she'll show up. Show actual document titles. So I think I can deliver that?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll leave that for the client to look at. This is the one we're waiting on Susanna to review.
Yeah.
The CSV export, okay. Speed up semaphore. Can we say that we're done with that, or there's some more things we need to do besides parallelizing RSpec and Cucumber?
There are more things we could do, including parallelizing.
Well, we are right now parallel with RSpec and Cucumber, right?
No, if we are, no, I'm quite sure we're not.
I thought we were, but maybe not.
No, we've talked about it, but Laura, neither you nor I can edit the semaphore settings for the project.
Yeah.
And so we need to have Laura and Susanna work that out.
Yep.
And then decide what we need to do about it. Now, right now, I think we've speeded things up enough, by almost 50%.
Just by stubbing out the calls, yeah.
So that I can see that we may want to, put that off until we need it again.
Yeah, it's still just one job. I thought that had been changed. Okay, too bad. But yeah, that's only 6 minutes. That's actually less than half, I think, of what we were running before.
Yeah, on average. So.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Okay,
So,
then it'll scream once we can parallelize it. Okay, so we're not done with that by any means. Yeah. Any update on Laura giving us better or more up-to-date credentials or whatever it was?
no, I think the next step is, well, I'm at the limit of my understanding of semaphore. I mean, I could poke around more and see it, but she says on her end, she needs to know who, what person or what organization to transfer the project ownership to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit hard for me to tell since I don't have the right permissions to be able to see the options on this or any other project.
I thought you had said on Slack that you had made me an owner of the project.
Right, but that doesn't seem to be enough. There's some interaction between, being the GitHub owner of a project or being what semaphore. So there's, at any rate, you can see this is where I don't have enough knowledge. Now, because
I don't either.
well, but on the pets project, you can, right, we can assign roles, but it's something about transferring project ownership. And so what I think is going to make it happen is to have Susanna and Laura in the same conversation so that they can say, oh yeah, I can see this. Let's either just transfer it to Susanna as an individual, or they'll be able to figure out if the right type of organization has been defined.
Okay, so if we are owners, then we should be able to change product settings, but evidently we're owners, but not within the applicable organization, which
something like that.
Something like that. So when I click on projects, I'm not even sure that I can see
exactly
the actual organization that this is supposedly attached to.
You can. I think if you click on SHF project words.
This one here?
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got here.
Yeah.
So this is some kind of a dashboard for the project, but
right.
Let me look at, if I look at organizations, right. It's not select, oh, okay. So it says I'm a member evidently of SHF project. When I click on that, I get to this thing.
Exactly.
And, okay. So let me click on projects under that organization. It says add pro. Right. It's kind of a circular thing going on here.
Right. But this is where.
Let me go look at it. Let me add that project, and I'll select development or master. Let me select.
That's what we build on.
Develop, which would seem to be the obvious.
Well, see, it says, who shall own this project?
I'll say I'll own the project. And it says, this is what I saw before. So I got this far. And for one time, it actually gave me access to view the settings on SHF project. But then I was locked out from that point forward. So this thing, see now GitHub, I've got a new public key added.
Yeah.
To my GitHub.
So you can try build, and that makes sense.
Yeah, so, and I always log in via GitHub to Semaphore, so it should pick that up. There we go, and now look at this.
Huh.
So
you did it.
Well, yeah, I think supposedly I did it. So we got, so this is what I set up here, actually. Or somebody did, I don't know if I did, but this is now broken up into.
I see.
Yeah, and then I actually got in here and I renamed this, in fact, if I remember. This is a few days ago. But evidently this didn't take. Build with these settings. Okay, so if I build with those settings, I'm building the development branch. But that doesn't translate back into the GitHub
Right.
hook,
Like,
webhook that activates semaphore.
you see how, yeah, it's like this is your own, almost like semaphore fork of it. It doesn't affect the main project.
From what I can tell, yeah. Although it seems to be building the project develop branch.
Right, you've got the two
What I can
jobs.
tell, yeah. Okay. And you can see the setup stuff. It
Yeah.
executes for each parallel processing effort here. So, well, anyway, again, I didn't build. I just got to the point where it says, okay, it looks like I actually can
Change settings.
set how we're going to build the develop branch,
Yeah.
which is fine, which is all we need right now. And I stopped there, and a day later I went back and I could not get this far without starting over like I just did now. So it doesn't stick, whatever it is we're doing.
Right. Yeah, and my sense is that Laura has to, it's not enough for like you or me to take ownership, like she has to literally transfer it.
Yeah, yes.
And so my sense is the easy way to do that is just to have her transfer it to Susanna.
Oh, absolutely.
And then all the organization team.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
7 seconds?
Our spec runs super fast now.
Jeez, you could. That's incredible.
Yeah, because there's no.
And then we've got about 5 to 6 minutes of cucumber, I guess.
Not usually.
Actually,
usually
not
about
even.
4. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Good. Well, yeah. That actually, we're already 2 minutes into it. In fact, so. Yeah, so about 4 minutes plus 2 minutes is about 6 minutes is what we saw.
Yeah, but you can see down in the bundle exec rate cucumber, it's really only 27 seconds into that step.
Yeah, no, what I mean is the elapsed time I saw before was 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Which includes the setup time, etc.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's see. It probably won't last, but yeah, we need to get the organizational stuff worked out then.
Yeah.
All right. Talked about email, waiting for info from user. Looks like that's underway.
Yeah, I started that and working through the
company map showing Swedish. I took that one on. I haven't started it yet.
I just want to talk about that real quick. So that is just when you send the Google request, you're saying the locale is Sweden. Is that what you're saying, or are you talking about something else? I want to make sure I'm clear on
that. Yeah, if we want to do that, we have to tell Google what country code we're in. Well, basically, it's a top-level domain, which is essentially mappings one-to-one to a country designation. They also say use to specify region, which is very similar to country, although the mnemonic may be different slightly.
Right.
So one of the things that I'd like to know, I wish Susanna was on here, was what does it look like to her when she looks at the map? Does she see things in Swedish or not?
So one thing I do is tunnel. I've got this little free version. So I haven't done this in a while.
Do you want to share your screen?
Well, let's see, give me just a second, maybe.
Yep.
Need one more moment. Yeah, the words, the map labels are still in English.
They are. And your tunneling is from Sweden to run it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see You know, these words are still, yeah, still in English. Although maybe I need to do a new browser. Okay, let's move on while this, I've got,
Well,
we can explore that more as that.
I think the problem was that Google says that they will generally detect
Right.
the user's locale by looking at the preferred language in the browser. So you're running with a browser that has English as a preferred language.
Yeah.
So it's probably not a great test. If Susanna could run this thing, that's basically what we need.
Right.
Am I screen sharing again?
I
Okay, we'll try again.
either one of them. Yeah, you can go back.
So the reason why that's important is that, let's see, in most cases it's preferable to respect the browser setting, and they use the browser's preferred language setting, and based upon that they will paint the map accordingly. So
Right.
I wanted to see what Susanna's seeing, and maybe we don't need to do this story, but if not, you know, we're ready to go. So I want to hold off on really doing much there.
Yeah.
Until that. Okay. All right, so what else do we have here? Yeah, we'll put that on hold for right now till Susanna can update us. Some documentation. So looks like you've taken ownership of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything that we need to talk about on these guys? This kind of
no, I haven't. No.
Okay.
But now that we've got Amazon space, we'll be able to move forward on those when they're ready.
All right. This is something that I added yesterday, which is what I talked about before.
Yeah, and I had some task about that. Is this? Yeah, I put this in. What did you add to this?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. This is the wrong rate task.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so that's good to go. We've already voted on. Well, it's a chore. Onboarding doc for new members. What do we need to do for that? Any details?
That was just, I had some slack time thinking about more about how to get people involved. Some of the stuff we need to keep working on. So this is low priority.
Yeah. Okay.
So what was the rate task you were thinking of? I see. It's over to your left.
Yeah, that one. So on this one though, I'm thinking that'll probably be a ongoing thing. We'll move it up sprint by sprint. I think I might take a stab at some of that stuff at some point. Because one of the things I think these projects assume that you know what origin is, you know what upstream is. You know, we have these standard naming conventions for repos, for instance, and how we use GitHub. And a lot of the projects are just silent on what all that means. I remember first going into MedPlus and saying, what the hell is upstream? What does that mean? Is that a keyword? No, it's a naming convention for this, that, and the other. So,
right, it's a naming convention, but it's also one that each project can change. So, right, it's all this. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, but we standardize on fairly straightforward names for this stuff. And if we do that across project, which we generally have done, but we don't really document it very well.
Exactly. So you know, just in talking about this, I think that a really effective way is if we just paired on it, and then in 20 or 30 minutes, I bet we could bang out just some simple good bullet points that would get us pretty full.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what I did on the, okay. Which one has it? Project setup, I think. No, not that one. That was too high level. So, okay, that's too high level. Onboarding new team members. No, was that the one? No, sorry, it's been a while. So working with Git and GitHub, developing a feature. So
This is great.
how do you resolve a pull request and a pull result from merge? And this one, developing a feature. Now here, I just started from scratch, which is, okay, newbie, this is what we're calling a project repo. This is your actual project
Great.
on
Yeah,
GitHub.
I've done,
And personal, so you see all these bolded things?
yeah.
And then I go into setting up your environment, and I
Yeah,
describe what's meant by upstream and what's by origin. So
that's
all that
great.
stuff. Yeah. So I could
I've
just kind of cut and paste a lot of that.
Yeah, that would get us really, or link, or whatever. And somewhere I've got some diagrams that I did.
Yep. Well, this is specific to MetPlus. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's easy to change the names. Okay.
So at any rate, anytime, yeah. Yeah, that would be great if you want to just copy and paste that and then
Get
you
us
can keep
started
a
anyway.
file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, yeah, I found with new people coming on MetPlus, it was a real boon to them to have that really straightforward, detailed view of things.
Yeah.
And then they're
Well,
flying.
like trying to load a website, the website one project or anything. I mean, they get to be complex projects, and without, it's the difference between working distributed and working, with a constant team.
Absolutely. And, just things like, well, let's see. So we got that. And then in terms of project setup, which I think we already have, for instance, we tell people to go through various steps. And then at this point, say, you need to get what we would call our .env file at this point.
Right. Right.
Just poke somebody in Slack, you'll get all that stuff, which, I hate to assume that people will know that by osmosis, because they don't.
They don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
this rake task, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nope. We're good. So that rake task, you just need to put the Sprint 14 label on it.
Yeah. Right. We don't need to vote on that one, that's for sure. Is there anything that we need to?
Then tell me what this one is.
Which one?
What the Sprint task is.
This rake task?
Yeah, sorry, rake task.
So it's basically to create an empty member page file. So it takes as input a file name, and it creates in the pages directory and a 0-byte file of that name. And then once that's there, the admin can go in and give it a title, put contents into it, all that.
Right.
So
this is the one you mentioned the other. Yeah.
I think between that, if they, like I said, the frequency of this is liable to be really, really low,
Yeah.
but we can formalize it in the UI if we needed to. The other thing we could do in the UI is add a delete page button if we need to, which would be rather trivial to implement, rather than do it by rake task. And that'll probably get us a long ways.
Could you just add a button that essentially just calls this rake task so that, an SHF administrator that's logged in can just press that button, and then underneath it'll essentially just run the things. So it's not so we move it up one level. It's not a command line. It has the tiniest bit of UI.
Yeah, we could, but as we talked, it seems to make sense to get started with a real low-level thing like this and see if we need to expose it to the UI. I mean, I wouldn't write it as a rake task if I was going to do it in the UI. I'd do it more through a controller action.
I'm just why? How much complexity does it add? So I totally agree. It's rare enough that it could be a rake task. Just how much complexity does it really add to make it just run from a controller method?
Not a lot, but the fact is this isn't even anything a user has ever asked us about or even wondered about, to be honest. Okay. This is just an invention in my head. So I hesitate to take it any further than a really trivial type of thing,
Yeah.
So.
Okay,
otherwise we're inventing stuff in advance of the user.
Yeah, but there's always a balance between if you have experience as a software developer, software engineer,
Mm-hmm.
That's important, but yeah. Okay, done. Yeah, I wanted to explore that for
Well,
a
whoever
minute.
takes it, if I take it, we can think about exposing it at the UI level or not. Let's leave it optional at this point at the
Yes,
discretion of the developer.
totally agree.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess the complexity, little nuances will come in, like if you give it a file name and the file name already exists, we got to make sure we don't clobber an existing file and create
Yeah.
a 0 version of that kind of thing. One of the things I was thinking of, once people get used to the convenience of editing these member pages through the UI, they may want to start adding member pages because it's so easy
Right.
to do and it's
Right.
useful for the members.
So just as long as I think, and you always do this, I don't need to say it, but I will. Just put some comments in your code so that the next person that takes this task on, if and when they do expand it from a rake task into a UI thing, is so that they remember check so that you don't clobber the same file name and those things,
Mm-hmm.
just to help out the next. But you're
Well,
all
rake actually has to do that as well. So it's almost like the same logic has to exist for that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
I am. You probably know this, but I err on the side of, if Thomas ever saw my code, he'd say, "Oh, you have way too many comments." I don't think there's such, for the stuff I comment, I try to belabor it almost to make it
I
very
agree.
clear.
I have a very different perspective than Thomas does, and I'm fine with that, and I'd be willing to go head to head with him about that at any time.
My comments help me when I go back a month later and I'm looking at this. What's going? Oh yeah, no. Oh, well, okay, that
In
puts it back.
software engineering, the biggest cost is maintaining, and you
Absolutely.
write code for programmers. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
executables and binaries and libraries are for computers. And
Exactly.
so, at any rate, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine. And everybody gets to run the
I
project.
don't. It's like a cultish belief that you shouldn't put comments in code. Like somehow you're implicating your code as not
Right,
self-documenting and readable. It's not.
right, right. Even natural language is not fully explanatory
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
otherwise. So, at any rate,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
this is why
absolutely.
we don't butt heads about it, because we have the same perspective on this project, and that makes it smooth. We haven't had to figure that out here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thomas's projects get to run how Thomas wants, and
That's right. He gets all the shots on his project.
that's right. Okay,
So here we
so
have. Why don't we move this to Sprint 14 as well? This is something Susanna put in, or no,
yeah,
I
it's been
put in.
around there for a while, and let's go ahead and tag it just so that we can review it.
Yeah.
We could do now.
And anything else? Okay,
So
this is
let's
all Sprint 14 stuff.
yeah, that scrolling back down to the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
refactor features. Let's take that. I'm not sure why is that not in the icebox? Where did that get?
Is Icebox just another label in PT?
It's not. So I'm wondering what information is set about this item that makes it show up there. Did it have a date, or did it get started and then not started?
Yeah, what's the criteria for being?
Right, and you can look at, and I will too, you can look at the history of an item.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that would be fine. Renamed,
Mm-hmm.
put it in a
Yeah,
in a not.
perhaps because we give it, do Icebox things have any label, any of them? I don't know why having a label would make it move out of the Icebox, but
And I wonder about maybe the status or something.
State.
But I'm
Yeah. So okay. So let's look at that
but I
then
don't
for this one.
think that it was ever started. We've edited it, we've moved it around, but I
Okay.
don't see that we've edited it.
Here's a nice box. Chore state is unscheduled. This state is unstarted, and I can't seem to
And
back up
so,
to unscheduled.
right, so Pat, if you click on that same line as the close button for this task, if you click on that little clock, that will bring up the history. And that's what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I look through that, and maybe I'm overlooking something, that's where I've not seen that the state has been changed, or I don't know. Maybe what we should do is just create a brand new tour, copy this in, and
Yeah.
delete this one since it's in some kind of weird state.
This is Anna moved and scheduled the story before edit review for this. Okay. All right.
Or we can just leave it for now and come back to it. Do a little more cleaning up later. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, presumably some documentation would tell us what comprises an icebox and how it moves out of it automatically.
Right.
But
Level up on our pivotal tracker knowledge, I guess.
you remember the story where we have the Google Maps API? Excuse me, Google
Yeah.
Maps URL, and there was
Yes.
one piece that we haven't programmatically built in yet. We've hard coded. Is there a story for that? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I'm searching on API. Change Google API key. Is that the same thing you're looking at? No.
I think that was just use this SHF key, which is sounds like we're done with that actually. Why don't we just start that?
I don't know that we've
We
got to update Heroku and DigitalOcean and those.
yeah.
So no, I don't see a task where we need to go through and review where the Google API key is used to ensure we're not hard coding it anymore.
Was it the Google API key or was it? Let's check that real quickly here. That one. Do you use Atom? Oh, you're using RubyMine, huh?
Yeah. Now, do you want me to search for something?
Oh no, I'm bringing up a new window in Atom, and it's a pretty fast editor. Except creating a new window is somehow glacially slow. I don't know why. But the rest. See how long that took? Ridiculous.
Yeah, and RubyMine, because it loads so much. When you first load a project, it gone are the days where we could go get a snack from the university canteen while things compiled, though.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are long past, huh?
Wait.
I'm looking for, oh, there we go, layouts. Here we are. Now, so we're good on that. I think it's this that we were looking to, there should be an initializer that sets this part.
Oh, right. We used to
Remember?
have that, and then you decided it was a little too complicated with Dottie and stuff. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, for some reason things broke, and so we had to back up, and we ended up with doing just this one thing. But the idea was that maybe we should come back and do this. However, if there's no version or anything on this, and if it's Google Maps API just stays static, an invariant like this, then we don't need to do anything. You know, if it was API 2.x or, you know, whatever, but I don't know, this may be stable. Maybe we don't need to do anything with it.
Right. They don't, I mean, they'll keep this URL the same, just like other things. The
Yeah,
version may change underneath, but
this is what we had. Remember in shf.yaml, we had
yes,
this. This is what we had, and we're using that in the layout file I was just looking at.
right.
But if this is liable to never change, then why bother?
Right.
Yeah, so maybe it's not a big deal.
Well, I think that we could clean it up by taking it out of the YAML to make it clear we don't use this.
Well, that would be how, yeah, just clean this up. Otherwise it's confusing.
We're not using the YAML at all. That would be another. So let's make a chore for that. I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll make the chore and I will, well, I'm overcommitting. I'll make the chore.
So we ended up doing nothing in this YAML file, because I remember at one point we were in our application file using configuration in here. And I guess the only one we were using at the time was this. And if we decide we're not, okay. Got it. Okay, well, that simplifies things. No need for complexity if we don't need it. Okay, good. Let's see, is there anything else that we need to? I'm good on all of that. Let me look at iSPOS one more time. Okay, well, that's actually not. How about this one, this visual indicator for the company address visibility? That's actually
well, so this was for the future. We talked about this with Ulrika, remember?
Oh, I know what it is. I'm just wondering if we want to vote on it and move it into.
I don't. I think we need to wait to let users use it for a bit before we see where it fits in our priorities.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, I'm positive it's a good idea from a usability point of view, but I don't know that anybody will until it's being used. I don't, you know, we have other things to work on.
Well, the reason I'm wondering, it's on Sprint 14, we're going to be running out of programming tasks unless we include backup as programming.
Yeah.
So just wondering if we want to harvest some of these.
Well, I know that I'm going to be pushed to get my commitments done, so I think that's part of why I'm hesitant to add any more, because I'm feeling at my limit. So this, to me, this would be more important, but I'd want to talk to Suzanne. I want to talk with Susanna about it, all of us. I know that just as I'm using this and going through and developing, when I look at that manage applications page, it's confusing to see an application show up many times. Well, there, that's what I actually typed. So
I see. I didn't even know that was the case. That's what happens, huh?
Yeah, I think that's a fact. I haven't gone back to see if, I don't think this is new. I think it's a factor that we're seeding with enough data that it now shows up.
So are you saying if a user has an application and they've gone through 3 statuses, let's say, that it shows up 3 times for that user with a different status each time? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all right. Yep, so that requires some discussion. Okay. Performance testing. Hit a remiss. I don't know what that means. Do you know what this means?
Hold on, I'm still looking. Okay, now I'm with you. No, that was one Susanna talked about, and I think I typed in from a meeting.
Okay, so don't know what that
I
means
think
either.
the translation thing for Susanna.
Okay.
And maybe even a member document thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So is there anything else in here that we should vote on? What I'm thinking is it would be nice to have a sprint backlog of things that are ready to be moved into a sprint but are not yet assigned to a sprint. If we get far ahead in a sprint, a pipeline, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think things like that, the things that I've marked easy, I think would probably be good candidates.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just which are priorities and which are easy, and both are good.
So nothing leaps out at you here that we can vote on, huh? Or we should vote on?
Let me think about it. So let me take a minute and look through these with my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on that. I would. So things like,
that's a good one.
What's that?
Set the number of items to be shown per pagination page, which I don't know if anybody else cares, but Susanna clearly cares.
Yeah, it drives her a little batty, so it would be good just to remove that annoyance from her life.
Mm-hmm. All right, why don't we vote on that one then?
Okay. Let's bring some happiness to Susanna's life. I'm for it. So I know how this would look to the user, but I have no idea about the technical complexity. Is that just something that the pagination, Jim's involved with that, handles? I would think so.
Well, you tell it when you paginate how many items per page. So that's straightforward from a pagination point of view. So obviously we need to have a little field there where they would select, either enter a number or more likely select from a list of choices like these shown here.
Exactly.
And then a little button next to it that says go or something.
Yeah.
I hate the ones that automatically execute when you pick a number, even if it's not the number you want. And then,
yeah,
so that's not too bad. I would say, I would give it a 2. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, yes, I do.
Okay.
I think it's a whole other discussion about, right. I don't think these points or the scale is helpful, but also it doesn't matter for our project right now, so.
It doesn't, no. At some point, maybe we'll figure out that velocity is useful to us, but right now we're just gated by our availability to do work, when and if.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's probably enough then. That gives us, there are a few more stories and or chores in here available for anybody who gets too ahead of themselves to move over.
Only going to be you. So it seems like you were thinking, right, of both making sure that there's enough stuff that could be worked on, but Was part of your thought process also making sure that we have enough user-facing stuff to deliver, or not so much in this case?
No, actually, a little bit in the opposite, because we do need them to actually execute and test this and use it. And there's a lot that they haven't used, both internally in their small group as well as the users themselves.
Mhm.
So I'm not too focused right now on getting stuff in front of them. I'd like to get more line of sight into when they're going to get the word out. And, you know, no negative on them, because I understand their predicament.
Yes.
But it would be nice to get some feedback. I'm curious to see what the users' ideas might be on where they might want to take this thing too, once they get more involved with it.
Right, right.
And you know, if you start editing your own information on your own company, you get invested. You get a little bit more, I mean,
Yes,
you get a little bit more sense of ownership. And out of that can come some interesting things.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. All those things.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess in the back, well, not so much in the back of my mind, but I want to keep doing things so that we can get more people involved in the project,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
um, for all the obvious reasons. So that, yeah, I think my brain goes there a little bit more right now than user-facing tasks, but it's not a big deal either way. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it would be nice. I'm not sure why other people haven't been knocking on our door. Perhaps because they go to our wiki and they don't see any help on how to
Well,
get
my
started.
thought is that, right, we need to, yeah, have information there that's helpful and clear. And then also, we don't do a lot of scrums, and so
No, we don't.
people coming in to Agile Ventures who want to work on things. I mean, I was the same, and it's natural. You want to join projects where you can see people and talk about it as you get in.
Mm-hmm.
Normal, natural, and we don't really have that going on. So, I think if we can move towards that, or at least just be aware of that. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, so perhaps what we can do is certainly not this week, but maybe next week or the week after. Maybe we should start a bi-weekly scrums.
That's
right now
what
we're gated by Susanna, right? And
right.
yep.
And so we could do. So one thought that I've had, I haven't really thought it through, but right, we could do one for kind of this time zone,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
Susanna could do one that's more in her time zone, and that would help address both frequency and the whole time zone stuff. Like, I haven't really thought it through, but that's something that's occurred to me. So yeah, I'd like us to move towards that.
And Susanna's time zone would be probably more like early evening, late afternoon for her. And actually, that wouldn't be too bad for me. I could actually join that as well.
Yeah, and if I'm up late, or
when the Met Plus project was going fairly heavily, I actually started 3 days a week Scrum at 6:30 my time in the morning, because we had 4 or 5 people out of Asia, India, as well as Singapore, working pretty aggressively on the project. So that worked out really well. And then that went away, and I stopped doing those Scrums. But yeah, the key was having a Scrum and getting people together, and they all appreciated that.
right, and figuring out what time worked for people. Right. Yeah. So I think that's a real key. If we can move towards that, having additional scrums, I think that will help.
Okay.
So we'll keep it away, keep working on it.
Well, why don't we talk about this? See, what's today? Thursday. Why don't we connect up on Slack at least early next week?
Tuesday-ish.
Yeah. In the meantime, I can take a whack at starting to build that. In terms of where we put the how to get started and all that, I think we both agree that we can just go ahead and do it on Wiki as opposed to a Markdown file.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Right, and also having to go through a review process and a pull request. Yeah, let's just
Yeah,
do it.
exactly. It slows us down. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right.
So I'm putting in my calendar, touch base with Patrick. So it's likely to happen now.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. So great. I think this is good. I think, Suzanne is getting busier and busier right
Hmm.
now, and will be. So
Yeah, it's
excuse
too
her.
bad, but yeah, we'll have to
Busy
flesh it
life.
out. And I think, having viable projects that new people can join is really the life and soul of AV, in my opinion. Real client-facing projects.
Well, and everybody wants to be involved in a real project. I mean, it's interesting when you have one more task tracker to-do list. Somebody
Hmm.
wrote a blog post, I think, on Medium or something like, every time you write a new to-do list project, a kitten dies or something.
Every time you
The
move a
world doesn't,
task forward to the next day for the umpteenth time, that's what's
yes,
up.
that's right. The world doesn't need one more pretend project. But yeah, so a project with real challenges and real things you have to think through and work through that's why people do this. So okay,
Yeah, I
great.
mean, Sam wants to, he's asking mentors to assign themselves, if you will, to new people who've joined an AV.
Yes,
And I am not interested in doing that at all, because the way I want to interact with people is in the context of a real project. And that's where both sides get a lot of value, and I really know what we're doing. As opposed to, I don't know what I would be doing, mentoring somebody who just joined AV. What does that mean?
right.
Yeah, I will.